Sankaracharya lived only 32 years and Lord Chaitanya lived 48 years. Does it mean that the prolonged life of the above mentioned trees are more important than Sankara or Chaitanya? Prolonged life without spiritual value is not very important. One may doubt that trees have life because they do not breathe, but modern scientists like Bose have already proved that there is life in plants. So breathing is no sign of actual life. The Bhagavatam says that the bellows of the blacksmith breathes very soundly, but that does not mean that the bellows has life. The materialist will argue that life in the tree and life in the man cannot be compared because a tree cannot enjoy life by eating palatable dishes or by enjoying sexual intercourse. In reply to this, the Bhagavatam asks whether other animals like the dogs and hogs living in same village with human beings do not eat and enjoy sexual life. The specific utterance of Srimad Bhagavatam in regard to other animals means that person who are simply engaged in planning a better type of animal life consisting of eating, breathing, and mating are also animals in the shape of human beings. A society of such polished animals cannot benefit suffering humanity. For an animal can easily harm another animal but rarely do good. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much, Shashwin, for the explanation of the word-to-word meaning, and also the translation and purport. So we are waiting for Mataji to join. She said she's joining in another 10 minutes. So we hope she can join in a short while. So meanwhile, translation again. Do the trees not leave? Do the bellows of blacksmith not breathe? All around us, do the bees not eat and discharge semen? So, yeah, this is just continuation of the previous verses, like how important is the human form of life, and then how we have to utilize our time in human body to achieve spiritual success. So instead of trying to enjoy the most, instead of trying to enjoy all the sense gratification. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, you're muted.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
So, Prabhuji, you were reading the purport?
Yes. We just read the verse and then we just read the purport. So we just finished, Mataji. We're just waiting for you.
We can get started. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji, and sorry for the delay. Dear devotees, Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Pashrayata Deshatharini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nuvata Swagata Krishna Punya Shramana Kirtanaha Kritayantasto hi Abhadrani Vidunoti Sugrat Satam Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtaki. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today it's the 18th verse, and we know that from last classes, our Induleka Mataji and Lakshmi Mataji brought up a beautiful question. So we will also make use of the time to kind of answer and delve into those particular verses. And then we will also try to catch up on today's verse. Maybe at least go over Srila Prabhupada's purport and understand it from that perspective. So this is sort of what I'm thinking we can do today. So without any further ado, we will get started, dear devotees. As you all know, the second chapter is titled Lord in the Heart. And now, we are in the third chapter. So that is pure devotional service, which is the change of heart. As we know, in the last class, we talked about Sukadev Goswami. He continued, right? He continued, meaning in response to the question about the activities of the dying man, I have explained you the paths of direct mukti and krama mukti, and also the path taken by intelligent man. What is the path taken by the intelligent man? The path taken by the intelligent man is bhakti. And then we have also seen what is the path chosen by less intelligent man. Who are the less intelligent man? The less intelligent man are those who worship the demigods. Again, we saw there was a classification where the path chosen by the less intelligent men, they have different desires, and for the different desires to be fulfilled, they worship the different demigods. So, for example, if they want a good progeny, we saw Prajapati Daksha was the person to be worshipped as the demigod. Good fortune, Durga Devi. Power, Agni. Money was money. If you want more money, then they or if you have the desire to earn more money, then it was the Vasus. To be a great hero, Rudra. Large stock of grains, Aditya. Aditi, and heavenly planets, Adityas, worldly kingdom, Vishwadeva. Like this, we saw that the path chosen by less intelligent men who do demigod worship, they have various desires, and for fulfilling the various desires, they worship different kinds of demigods. And then the worship of the Supreme Lord. The kama sarva kamova moksha kama utarati. So any person who has utaratihi, that is a broader intelligence, he must worship Lord with intense tivra bhakti, whether he is akama or sarva kama or moksha kama. Whoever it may be, he has to worship the Supreme Lord. So now the question is asked, oh, okay. In that case, will the demigod worshippers gradually graduate to Tivra Bhakti? That's the question that is being posed. And for that, the answer is no. We saw the beautiful example proposed in Madhurya Kadambini by our Acharya Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, how he explains that bhakti is what is leading to bhakti. There is no other cause that leads to bhakti. No. If you think there is a cause that leads to bhakti, oh my God, you are mistaken. No way. There is no cause. Bhakti in the heart of the devotee is what is leading to bhakti in your heart, or the person who gets bhakti, that is because of the present in that heart of the devotee, which is then responsible for the bhakti. The other person, whoever gets that bhakti. So devotee association alone can give bhakti. So this is what we understood. So if you ask the question, can the demigod worshippers directly graduate and graduate to Tivra Bhakti? The answer is no. If they have devotee association, that is the only possible way to get bhakti. Now, how can one who always worships some demigod develop devotion to the Lord in the end? That's another question, right? Even jnanis take up to bhakti. Why don't these demigod worshippers, they take to bhakti? Even jnana, the jnanis who perform the jnana yoga, they also take up to bhakti. Why can't these demigod worshippers, they do bhakti? If jnana, which creates indifference to the waves of material modes, is self-satisfying, is free from attachment to the gunas, is transcendental, and thus approved by authority, leads to bhakti yoga, then who could fail to be attracted to Harikatha? Which is the question that is being posed. And now, Shaunakadi rishis, they inspire Suta Goswami to speak more. Okay, what are they saying? What did Maharaj Parikshit inquire from Sukadev Goswami? So this is from verse number 13. So we have to see from verse number 13 till verse number, I think, 18 for today, what is going on. Because we kind of saw we saw pure devotional service. What is pure devotional service? How devotee association is responsible for bhakti. And from that, now there is a gradual transition to the next part of the next theme, which talks about Shaunakadi Rishi. In 13 to 16, Shaunakadi Rishi glorifies Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadev Goswami. And 17 to 19, now criticism of those who do not hear Harikatha. If somebody is not able to hear Harikatha, then how are they criticized? That is being spoken about in verses 17 to 19. So basically, 13 to 25 is nothing but Shaunakadi Rishis are inspiring Sutta Goswami to speak. You speak more. And Shaunakadi Rishis are glorifying who? Our Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadev Goswami. And then 17 to 19 is more so talking about, oh, see, there are some people who don't want to hear Harikatha. So they are being criticized severely. And 20 to 24, it's limb by limb description of persons who are averse to Harikatha. So this is sort of the overview, dear devotees, of what is coming ahead. But basically, the verse for today is more so about the criticism of those who don't hear Harikatha. This is what it is. So now, I don't see Lakshmi Mataji here, is it? She was here a few minutes ago, but I don't see her now. Okay. Let me see. I will just share my screen, dear devotees, and then we can go through the verses of Srila Prabhupada from 13 to 18, today's chapter. I think it's a long purport. Yeah, we can. 1 minute, let me share my screen. We'll go through from 17. Let me share my screen. Share screen. Yeah. I think Prabhuji, you have to give me permission to share my screen.
Yes, Mataji. Let me alert somebody, because I'm also not the main host. Let me alert.
Okay, no worries. Then I'll just start reading from the purport. No problem.
Okay.
Okay. So, 17th verse is essentially talking about Srila Prabhupada's translation. Both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of a life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing the topics of all good Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this verse, Purport says, this verse is essentially talking about, this verse indirectly confirms the greater importance of utilizing this human form of life to realize our lost relationship with Supreme Lord by acceleration of devotional service. Time and tide wait for no man. So the time indicated by sunrise and the sunset will be uselessly wasted if such a time is not properly utilized for realizing the identification of spiritual values. Even a fraction of duration of life wasted cannot be compensated by any amount of gold. Human life is simply awarded to a living entity, Jiva, so that he can realize his spiritual identity and his permanent source of happiness. A living being, especially the human being, is seeking happiness because happiness is the natural situation of a living entity, but he is vainly seeking happiness in material atmosphere. A living being is constitutionally a spiritual spark of the complete whole, and his happiness can be perfectly perceived in spiritual activities. The Lord is the complete spirit whole, and his name, form, qualities, and pastimes, entourage, and personality are identical with him. And once a person comes in contact with any one of the above mentioned energies of the Lord, a proper channel of devotional service, the door to perfection is immediately opened. In 2.40 of Bhagavad Gita, Lord has explained such a contact in the following words. Endeavors in devotional service are never baffled, nor is a failure. A slight beginning of such activities is sufficient to deliver a person from the greatest ocean of material fears. As a highly potent drug injected intravenously acts at once on the whole body, the transcendental topics of the Lord injected through the ear by a pure devotee of the Lord can act very efficiently. Oral reception of the transcendental messages implies total realization. Just a fructification of one part of the tree implies fructification of all other parts. This realization for a moment in the association of pure devotees like Sukadev Goswami prepares one for the complete life of eternity. And thus, the sun fails to rob the pure devotees of duration of life inasmuch as he constantly busy in devotional service of the Lord, purifying his existence. Death is the symptom of material infection of the eternal living being. Only due to material infection is the eternal living entity subjected to law of birth, death, old age, and disease. The materialistic way of pious activities like charity is recommended in Smriti Shastras as quoted by Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakura. Money given in charity to a suitable person is guaranteed bank balance in next life. Such a charity is recommended to be given to a Brahmana. If a money is given to a non-Brahmana, the money is returned in the next life in the same proportion. If the money is given to a half-educated Brahmana, even the money is returned in double. If the money is given in charity to a learned or a fully qualified Brahmana, the money is returned 100,000 times. If the money is given to Veda Paranga, it is returned unlimited multiplication. The ultimate end of Vedic knowledge is the realization of personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedya. There is a guarantee of money returned even if given in charity, regardless of proportion. Similarly, a moment passed in the association of pure devotee by hearing and chanting the transcendental message of the Lord is a perfect guarantee for eternal life, for returning back to Godhead. Madhama gatva punarjanma na vidyate. In other words, a devotee of the Lord is guaranteed eternal life. Lord's devotees' old age or disease in the present life is just but an impetus to a guaranteed eternal life. So, dear devotees, so how, it is very important to hear Krishna Katha is being talked about, right? Srila Prabhupada is giving us the importance of how we could value time. If the time is utilized in a proper way, then we will be able to realize who we are. In a proper way, meaning that is Shravanam. Shravanam plays a very, very important role in a person's life. What happens through that process is a lot of bhakti vrittis are formed. When you start hearing Krishna Katha, bhakti vrittis develop. And because of these vrittis, say for example, a particular action you do, when you have these bhakti vrittis, it will indulge you to act in a particular way, which is as per the Shastras. But if you don't have any sort of bhakti vrittis developed in you, then only what you will take shelter of, the material vrittis that are there in the mind. That is what you will go to. Oh, you know what? I don't want to go to satsang today. Why? Because, I feel tired. This is what the materialistic mindset. But when you have these bhakti vrittis so strong in you, no matter what, even if it rains, I have to go and hear Krishna Katha. I have to be in the satsang. I have to serve the devotees prasadam. I have to make prasadam. So this determination is strong when you have bhakti vrittis in you. Because of Shravanam, because of hearing, that hearing potency makes a big difference to how the consciousness works. Right now, we are all conditioned, dear devotees. Everybody is conditioned. But how can that conditioning change? It's only through the Shravanam process. So every minute has to be used in Krishna consciousness to the extent possible. Of course, we have our material duties. We are all grahasthas. But one day we have to understand there is a goal that we need to achieve. That is enter into the platform of pure devotional service. Get Shraddha, and that happens only by the mercy of pure devotees of the Lord. Only through their mercy we can enter into getting that full faith in the Lord. That is the that is the aspiration a devotee must have. Okay, dear devotees, this is what is being stressed. Srila Prabhupada over and over talks about the importance of hearing, and he also tells how important it is to be in the association of devotees, and specifically pure devotees of the Lord, from whom we have to hear Krishna Katha and thereby, get the Dhrida Shraddha, through which we will be able to progress in the path of pure devotional service. So again, time and tide waits for none. But when you look at the activities that this time, what are people after? People are after money. You see, some people, they engage you in a website for what? Grab money from you. It could be, it's just that they want to use your time. Yeah, you just spend hours and hours on my website. In return, I want your money. Isn't it? There is always a motive. If somebody is hooked onto something, if somebody is making you to hook onto something, there is an inner motive by that person, because of which the person gets hooked. So we should understand, dear devotees, nothing comes for free in this material world. If you were to do some activity, there is always a goal for the other person, how to extract time from you, how to extract money from you, or how to extract followers. People want more followers these days. So do that, they create an attractive website or attractive forum where people can come together. And ultimately, it's your time that is getting wasted. And not only your time, your money will also be spent eventually. So these are the two things that would happen to a person if if he doesn't use his time or value his time properly. Okay. And now we will go on to the 18th verse, which is what is the today's verse. And then we will discuss through that as well. I just wanted to go through Srila Prabhupada's purports because Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura doesn't have much going on. So this is why we are taking Srila Prabhupada's purport and understanding that from that line. Okay, let me share my screen now that I have the permission of the host. Okay, give me a minute, dear devotees. Okay, how do I share? Okay. Okay, you're able to see this. Okay, let me move my screen. Are you all able to see my screen, dear devotees? Is it okay?
Yes, Mataji.
Is it? Okay, good. Do the trees not live? Do the bellows of blacksmith not breathe? All around us, the bees not eat and discharge semen. The materialistic men of modern age will argue that life or part of it is never meant for discussing the theophysical or theological arguments. Life is meant for maximum duration of existence, eating, drinking, sexual intercourse, making merry, and enjoying life. The modern man wants to live forever by the advancement of material science, and there are foolish theories of prolonged life to the maximum duration. But Srimad Bhagavatam affirms that life is not meant for so-called economic development or advancement of materialistic science for the hedonistic philosophy of eating, mating, drinking, and merrymaking. Life is solely meant for tapasya, for purifying existence, so that one may enter into eternal life, life just after the end of material form of life. The materialists want to prolong life as much as possible because they have no information of next life. That is the poor situation of these materialistic people. They think, oh yeah, let me enjoy my life to the maximum extent. I'm going to be here in this world only for a short time. So each day is so valuable to me. Why not I enjoy my life? That is their perception. They want to get the maximum comforts in the present life because they think conclusively there is no life after death. This ignorance about eternity of the living being and the change of covering in the material world has played havoc in the structure of modern human society. Consequently, there are many problems multiplied by various plans of modernized man. The plans for solving problems of society have only aggravated the troubles. Even if it is possible to prolong life more than 100 years, advancement of human civilization doesn't necessarily follow. The Bhagavatam says certain trees live for hundreds and thousands of years. Vrindavan, there is a tamarind tree which is said to have existed at the time of Lord Krishna. In Calcutta Botanical Garden, there is a banyan tree which is older than 500 years. And there are many such trees all over the world. Swami Shankaracharya lived only 32 years and Lord Chaitanya 48 years. Does it mean prolonged lives of above-mentioned trees are more important than Shankara or Chaitanya? Prolonged life without spiritual value is not at all important. One may doubt that trees have life because they do not breathe. But uh, one may doubt trees have life because they do not breathe. But modern science like Bose have already proved there is life in plants. So breathing is no sign of actual life. Bhagavatam says the bellows of blacksmith breathes very soundly, but doesn't mean that the bellows have life. The materialist will argue the life in the tree and the life in a man cannot be compared because a tree cannot enjoy life by eating palatable dishes or enjoying sexual intercourse. In response to this, Bhagavatam says whether animals like dogs or hogs living in the same village with human beings do not eat or and enjoy sexual life. The specific utterance of Srimad Bhagavatam in regards to other animals means the persons who are engaged in planning a better type of animal life consisting of eating, breathing, and mating are also animals in the shape of human beings. A society of such polished animals cannot benefit suffering humanity, for an animal can easily harm another animal but rarely do good. So, dear devotees, we are able to understand the fact that if you are going to just engage in the activity of eating, mating, sleeping, um, this is equal to you being an animal. You are no different from an animal. It's what Srila Prabhupada over and over says this point, right? I mean, we have seen in many purports this particular phrase comes. So how important it is to use this human form of life is something we have to realize from inside. This statement can be repeated many times, but if it doesn't provoke anything in you, what's the point, right? Something has to provoke within us to say, yes, Srila Prabhupada has told this, and I have to utilize my life in a proper way. I have to be a human being. Human being means this God-given form of intelligence should be used to serve the Lord. That is human intelligence. That is why it is given. Instead, if we make advances in science and many things like that, what is the point? Ultimately, what are you deriving at? Right? Nothing. There's no spiritual values imbibed within us. So anything without that spiritual values is just a waste. That's what Shamayevahi Kevalam. Whatever activities you do, if it doesn't have bhakti incorporated in it, Shamayevahi Kevalam. It's just a waste of endeavor. So, So this is what we will, this is what is the purport and the translation. So what I'm thinking is now we will try to address some of the questions that Lakshmi Mataji and our Indulekha Mataji posed, and we'll go through specific Bhagavad Gita verses, and this is going to be commentary from Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakura. So this way we will understand in depth what that verse means. Hope you're all fine with this plan, dear devotees. Let me know if you have any questions before I proceed to Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Any questions, dear devotees? Can we go on to the Bhagavad Gita verses and cover that for some time? Are you all fine?
Yes, Mataji, it's okay.
Okay, we'll go. So now, so to address Lakshmi Mataji's question first, we have to, she asked about this particular verse. I think, Esham tu antakatam papam jnananam punya karmana te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante ma dhradavrataha. So this is the verse which was specifically asked. And in order to understand this verse, we must understand the previous set of verses. So we do have a context of what this verse means. Okay. Let me just go a few verses back. If we want in the next class, we can even go a little further if Mataji wants more description of that. Again, this is from the commentary of Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakura. Okay, dear devotees, praying to his lotus feet so that I speak the right words at the right time. Now, so if you just look two verses above, I wanted to sort of explain it at least 4-5 verses to sort of get the flow. But again, when I look at the time, we don't have much time. So let me go 2 verses for now and then talk about the context of that verse. Because see, with the commentaries, what happens is there is a question posed and then the answer comes. There is a question posed and then the answer comes. And then there is a linkage that happens between the verses. Okay, this is why this verse comes. This is why we talk about this. So when we understand that perspective, then it will become clear. Instead of just rushing in the middle and trying to understand the middle, it's not a good way to tackle a particular shloka. But still, because of time, we are just going to go through just the 2 verses which were talked about, and then we will see what this verse means. But again, if we need more explanation, we can always go back to your devotees in the next classes and discuss in depth at least 10 verses ahead. This way we can kind of see the continuity. That is the way I would like to propose reading any commentary. Again, please forgive me if I'm just cutting short on any particular point that our Acharya wants to tell us. So now, Vedaham Samatitani Vartamani Cha Arjuna, that verse is the 26th verse. Krishna is saying in simple words, Vedaham, I know somebody, Samatitani, I know the past. I know nicely what has happened. That means I know all the people in the past. I know people who are in the present. I know those who are going to come in the future also. So any ordinary human being know the past, present, and the future of all beings. Lord is proclaiming boldly that he knows. Yes, I know the past, I know the present, I know the future. And just not of one living entity. I know of all living entities. Then why we are not able to accept him? Why? See, he knows about everyone. Lord is proclaiming really boldly. He says here, yes, he knows the past, he knows the present, and he knows the future of all living entities. Then why are we not able to accept him? That is because we have an offensive mentality towards the Lord. That is why we don't accept his words or Shastra or sadhus for that matter. Shastra, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra are our basis, isn't it? First Sadhu, then Shastra, then Guru. How can one know the Lord without the Shastras? We must, if we have to accept Lord's words, he says, I know the past, present, and the future of all living beings. I know everyone, but no one knows me. Why no one knows Krishna? Because our Acharya is telling, Krishna is looking just like a human being. Although he is performing these extraordinary activities, he is able to lift up this Govardhan hill these things are so extraordinary. People can just make up with some explanation. Oh, you know what? Krishna must have practiced some mystic yoga and that's why he acquired this power. People may think he's just a human being. Right? He's just a human being. There's another verse in Srimad Bhagavatam where our Acharya quotes to say, Ati Matyani Bhagavan Guda Kapata Manushaha. Guda Kapata Manushaha. Even though he does extraordinary activities, he still keeps himself covered. He doesn't reveal himself so easily. For Krishna, if he wants to show, he can show. But there is no fun in showing himself so easily. That is why he does some testing. Before revealing himself, he wants to test the devotee. Until then, he keeps himself covered. Therefore, even though he performs these extraordinary activities, people are unable to understand his position. Now, Krishna says he knows everything. How does he know everything? The material world and the spiritual world are manifested by the material energy and the spiritual energy, which is Mahamaya and Yogamaya. And both these energies are sheltered in the Supreme Lord. Because these two Mayas are sheltered in him, they cannot cover him. In other words, it's like Lord covering himself with a blanket. But the blanket only covers the living entity's vision. For the living entity, the Lord is covered. He cannot see. But the blanket does not cover the power to cover Lord's vision. He can see everyone. The Lord covers himself with a blanket of Yogamaya means the covering of the Yogamaya, the living entities are not able to see him. With that covering, the living entities are not able to see him. But that doesn't mean by covering himself with a blanket, he is also not able to see the living entities. No. This Maya has no power to cover the Lord because Maya is his energy. He is the shelter of Maya. How can the sheltered ever cover the shelter? Right? An example is given. The example is human beings manufacture robots. Robots cannot be greater than human being. Can they be? Because it is the human being who made the robot. He is the shelter for the robot. Right? Krishna is saying, no one knows me. We should take two meanings here. Acharya says two meanings are possible. When he says no one knows, that means even greater personalities like Shiva, they also don't know the Lord. What do you mean by that? That means, however great a person may be, however great a devotee is, he may not know the Lord completely. They can know something about the Lord. As you advance in bhakti, the more you will realize, the more you will know the Lord. Nobody can proclaim, yes, I know the Lord completely. That is one meaning our Acharya says. When we talk about great personalities, then when Krishna says no one knows me, that means even great personalities, they don't know Krishna completely. Right? This is the first meaning. The second meaning is relation to ignorant people. So when Krishna says Vedana Kashana, means they don't know him at all. Ignorant people, do they know anything about Krishna? No, they don't know anything about Krishna. Now, the two meanings I quoted are, one is great personalities, they don't know Krishna completely. The second meaning that I quoted was, with regards to these ignorant people, do they know Krishna? No, they don't know Krishna at all. These are the two meanings that are quoted for Vedana Kashana. So now, Vedaham Samatitani, this verse, we understood the fact that Krishna is not covered by his Maya. Instead, when we say he's covered by Yoga Maya, that means that means that people are not able to see him. That is what it means. And then we understood this meaning for the word Vedana Kashana, meaning the law. I mean, Vedana Kashana meaning there are two meanings. One is Krishna says no one knows him. When you talk about great personalities, yes, they don't know him completely. Second, when you talk about ignorant people, they don't know Krishna at all. And Maya has no power to cover the Lord because Maya is his energy. He is the shelter of Maya. How can this shelter, how can person who gives shelter be covered by that shelter, right? How can the sheltered ever cover the shelter? This is the point. And for this, we have spoken about example of a robot. How robot cannot be greater than a human being. Because the human is who made the robot. He is the shelter for that robot. So that is the import of the words according to our Acharya, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakura. Then this verse comes. This verse is talking about, the next verse is talking about Icha Desha Samuttena Dvantva Mohena Bharata Sarva Bhutani Sammoham Sargeyanti Parantapa. That's the next verse. Why are people not unable to know him? That is the thing, right? So you can, obviously Krishna is saying, in the 6th chapter, the end of the verse, he's saying, Yoginam api sarvesham matkatendaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yoma same yukta tamomataha. So one fixes the mind in the Lord. And with Shraddha, he is rendering devotional service to the Lord. He is the best of the yogis. And then the 7th verse begins with the fact to say, Maya Shakta Manapata Yogam Yunjam Matashrayah Ashamshayam Samagramma Yata Dhyasasi Tachrunu. So who's the Adhikari for Jnana and Vijnana? And then he also, what is Jnana? What is Vijnana? This is what is being clarified. And then he says how it's very rare to know Krishna. That is Manushyanam Sahasreshu. It's very, very rare to know him. When he gives us this knowledge of Aishwarya Gyan. Aishwarya Gyan is to connect Krishna, to know Krishna even in this world. He gives us example. And then how under the influence of the three modes, even though he's there, no one is able to see him because of the influence of gunas. Tribir Gunamair Bhave, that verse, it talks about, yes, Mohitam Nabi Janati, Mam Ebya Param Avyayam. So someone who surrenders to him, he is the one who can actually come out of the modes. But 4 people, they don't surrender to him. And 4 people surrender to him. And of these people who surrender, the Jnani is the dearest, he says. I'm just trying to give a sort of overview before we get into this verse. And then someone who comes to the level of Jnani means one who is very much attracted towards the Lord. He is doing bhakti and he is practicing some jnana. For that person, it may take many, many lifetimes. Right? To get to the Supreme Lord, it may take many, many lifetimes. But for someone who understands Vasudev, Shyam Sundar form of the Lord, it is it's very, very rare to know that, yes, Shyam Sundar form of the Lord is the ultimate. To know that, it's very, very rare. It's not easy at all. And this is about talking about knowing the Lord. And then how those whose intelligence is destroyed, they don't know Lord. Instead, they go and worship demigods. Even though it is Lord who is giving Shraddha to worship the demigods, even though it is the Lord who is giving the results through the demigod, it's the Supreme Lord. But they don't understand that. These people have less intelligence, because of which they don't understand the fact that Supreme Lord is the greatest. These are people with less intelligence. They cannot know the Lord. And Lord's devotees, they only know him. Okay, so this particular verse, this verse that we just read, Ichha Dvesha Samuttena Dvanda Mohina Bharat, this verse is saying how material energy is keeping the living entities bound in the clutches. So here is the first question. Right, the first question is, so since when the Jivatma is conditioned like this? Since when it is controlled by Maya? Krishna says, Sarge Yanti Parantapa, meaning beginning, since the beginning of creation, it is being controlled by Maya. How does the living entity become captured by Maya? The answer is because he carries karma from past creation. He has previous karma from previous creation that he carries. And see, and these karmas, they are from these karmas, what happened? The Icha and Dvesha are produced, meaning the desire and hatred. What is Icha and what is Dvesha? Icha means whatever is favorable to my senses. I desire this. This is called Icha. And that which is unfavorable to the senses. No, I hate that. That is Dvesha. So step 1 is, because of previous karma, now Icha and Dvesha, desire and hatred is produced. From that desire, what happens? From that desire, Icha and Dvesha, what is produced? Moha, means illusion is produced. Where there is moha produced, it is produced in, it is produced in dualities. And what is the form of this moha? For example, actually this moha, from this moha, some moha comes, intense attachment. So the repetition, I'm just trying to tell you the steps, okay? So from previous karma, what happens? Icha and Dvesha is produced. Icha and Dvesha produces moha, and that results in dualities, right? Dualities means I like this, I don't like this, duality. And from this moha, sammoha is produced. Sammoha means too much attachment. Sammoha means really, you are at sea, for example, you are attached to something. That doesn't mean you're going to go forward and do it. If you are really intensely attached, if you have that ati ashakti, then you will do it no matter what the consequences. Right? No matter what the consequences. Right? Somebody, he's a drug addict. If he gets to know from theory classes, yes, drug addiction is bad, but he has some intense attachment, some more. No matter what the consequences, even if he dies, he wants to go and take drugs. This is what is intense attachment. Okay. So, what are dualities now? Dualities, happiness and distress, cold and heat. These are the dualities. And you have attachment to these dualities. That is moha. And intense attachment means some moha. Similarly, say the dualities, we can all go on, right? Happiness, distress, cold, heat, women, men. Similarly, women and men, cold, heat, all these are dualities. Either we have desire or hatred for these things. So you think, okay, women gives me pleasure. I like that. So this is what you know causes this icha and dvesha. Yes, because of which you know this icha and dvesha is what is forbidding this person from getting into bhakti, dear devotees, because we are all illusioned. They are all producing this icha and dvesha, they are producing moha, illusion. And now this moha turns into some moha, intense attachment. Now like somebody has an attraction towards opposite sex, let's say for a woman, their thoughts are completely absorbed in that. That is ati ashakti, intense attachment. So Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 20th chapter says, somebody who has this ati ashakti, they are not eligible for bhakti. A person cannot be too attached or too detached. Someone who is too attached and too detached cannot, such a person is not qualified to do Shuddha Bhakti. This is the statement from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 20th chapter. Edirchya mat gatasu. So somebody who has ati ashakti, for him karma is recommended. So once again, what we are reading in this verse is, at the beginning of creation, the living entity has purva karma, karma from past creation. This jivatma in the creation, since anadi, since beginningless, because of the connection, he is carrying karma from previous creation. And so in this way, we cannot trace back. We cannot trace back when this all happened because it doesn't have a beginning. That is the point. If you keep going back and trying to trace, you can't do that. It is anadi. So the important point is, because of one's previous karma, this icha and dvesha, desire and hate, very intensely will be his illusion. Moha will be he, because of this icha and dvesha, he will be in illusion. He will be in very, very deep illusion. And what would happen is, as you read through the next verse, we would understand why the word papa is being used. So the person who has bigger baggage of previous karma or papa, he has done ghora papa, incredibly sinful activities. The next verse will say that for this person, to get to bhakti is very, very difficult. He won't be able to turn towards bhakti because of his the result of his previous sins. He will become ati ashakta. He will become intensely attached. And because of this intense attachment, he becomes disqualified for taking bhakti. That is what is the connection to the next verse, dear devotees. So our Acharya is trying to slowly help us understand, okay, what is this Icha and Dvesha? And see, this Icha and Dvesha are coming from where? It is coming from previous karma. And does this have a beginning? No, it doesn't have a beginning. It is beginningless. And this Icha and Dvesha is resulting in moha. And moha then leads to some moha. So because of this intense attachment, this person, who commits ghora papa, this person who commits very, very sinful activities, he is not able to take up the path of bhakti because he is ati ashakti, because he is very attached to doing his things because of icha and dvesha, because of him being illusioned. So when we go into yesham tu antakatam papam jnananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrataha. So in this previous verse, the Lord said, see, those people who have too many papa karmas or sinful karma, they are not qualified to do bhakti. So this text, which is 28, it's saying that then who is qualified to bhakti? Whose sins, for persons whose sins have come to an end. Why their sins are coming to an end? Because they have been punished again and again in the hell for their sinful activities. And after suffering the sinful reactions, the sins are coming to an end. And what happens? Their mode of ignorance is getting reduced. Why they are committing sins? They are committing sins because they are in the mode of ignorance. And now, because they get the punishment over and over. They realize, yes, this is wrong, and they don't want to commit the sins again. They come to the mode of goodness, and in that condition, when the goodness is more and when the ignorance is reduced, then his moha or ignorance is reduced means what? His moha or illusion is also reduced. And when that is reduced, then when sins come to an end, there is an increase in sattva guna and decrease in tama guna. Because of this, a person is able to, when there is decrease in tamaguna and increase in sattva means ashakti towards material things is also reduced. So if your attachment towards material things is reduced, now you are eligible to accept bhakti. Now you will get bhakti and you will be able to upon it. Right? So edirchiya bhakta sangha means accidentally somehow or the other, when you get the association of devotee, only then a person whose sins are coming to an end, if the sins are coming to an end, they become a devotee. That means when he gets Vaishnava association, there is no cause for that. It's edirchaya. It can accidentally happen. If there is no cause why somebody gets, why somebody comes in association and why somebody doesn't, there is no cause for that. But the person who has done Ghora Papa, they have done terrible sinful activities. For them, it is difficult to take bhakti. Why? Because too much attachment is also not conducive for this person to take up bhakti. So the point here, dear devotees, there is more to this that our Acharya is explaining, but we have to stop because our time is done. But the point here is, when you come in the association of devotees, the bhakti in the heart of the devotee is what is responsible for you to get bhakti. But whether you are going to accept or not, it depends upon the modes you are in. If you are too much attached, then that person, even though he comes in the association of devotees, he will not be able to accept bhakti, right? And it also depends upon how much mercy this person showers. Say, for example, Mrigari. Mrigari was a sinful hunter. He did so much he did lot of sinful activities. But because of the power of Narad Muni, he was able to transform. That's also there, dear devotees. But this is what this verse essentially means. So when your papa is getting reduced, and when you come to the mode of ignorance, the person in mode of ignorance, the person in the mode of goodness is more conducive to accept bhakti as opposed to a person who has intense attachment. Hope that verse clarifies. With this, we will end our class today. I will clarify your point, your question, Indulika Mataji, in the next class. I'm so sorry. I try to go over the verses, and by the time I finish, I'm left with no time. So we will try to answer your question next time. Basically, in the verse that you had asked, Shine Punyam Matta Lokam Vishanti. So that verse is essentially talking about only Swarga Loka. It doesn't talk about Brahman. But yeah, we can discuss what our Acharya says in the next class and then clarify that as well. So with this, we will stop, dear devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa santubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrind ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and our Acharyas and Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. I don't know if you can take some questions and answers, Hare Krishna.
I'm okay, Prabhuji.
Okay. Are there any questions and comments, Hare Krishna?
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you again for nice class. We have exhausted our time. I'm not going to ask question. I already have a question to you, so next week maybe you can enlighten me on that question. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Sure. You mean that verse, right, Mataji?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Okay, Indulika Mataji, are you able to close the session? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much. Mataji, as always, she does a lot of research. I'm sure she reads a lot, and which is like not easy. Sometimes we may read, but we don't get the right answer. We may not get the right understanding. Different people learn, and then from different angles, we get different answers. So it's nice when we come together and we discuss about it. Mostly Mataji, she's putting everything like spoon feeding us, I must say. She gets all the quotation from the acharyas, she gets the references, and then that is not easy, as I said. So thank you, Mataji. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I will request everyone to unmute and to sing the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in glorification of Radhika Kasturi Mataji. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya
कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णवी की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, Her Grace Radhika Kasturi Mataji ki jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to all of you, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. See you all next week.
Hare Krishna.